My name is Vanessa and I started this channel because my dream in the future is to serve Jesus without worrying too much about money. So I wanted to make sure that I honored God by making my first video about my testimony. My testimony of how I became a born-again Christian. And I pray that my discovery journey can encourage you because testimonies are extremely powerful and important, because they are real witness accounts of how people like me have met Jesus. And I hope that my testimony can be one of many that you get to hear this year. So, my name is Vanessa. I was born and raised in Queensland, Australia. I'm the eldest in my family and I have two younger sisters. Both of my parents are Vietnamese, with my dad being a Buddhist and my mum having converted to Christianity from Buddhism. While my mum was in Vietnam on the way to teaching English at a local school, she was invited by some Christians over for tea. She grew up in a Buddhist family, but nonetheless was won over by the hospitality, generosity, and kindness of these Christian strangers. When I was very little, there was strife in the family because of my mother's faith and other family issues, and my parents ended up divorcing. We didn't have much money after that and we moved around for a bit. On the weekends I would visit my dad and he would take me to the Buddhist temple where I would attend the children and youth classes. And at these kids clubs we would worship, offer fruit sacrifices, chant and bow to the Buddhist statues and listen to the young adults teach us lessons. There were lots of other young people who attended the program because of their parents who would join the adult classes. But at the same time, my mum would also take us to church. We didn't have a car and we lived about half an hour away, so we would catch a bus halfway and someone would pick us up for church, or people would pick us up from our house and give us a lift. I wasn't really aware of anything at that young age. I was more interested in playing the old box computer or my Nintendo DS, or reading books from op shops or the library, and we didn't have internet or phones back then. But the people from church were really generous, and one particular family always gave us hand-me-downs clothes from their daughters who were of similar age. It was always a delight and we were never ashamed to receive help back then. My mum was friendly and welcoming, and one time some Jehovah's Witnesses befriended us and came over for multiple sessions in one of our old houses. This was before our Vietnamese pastor told us that Jehovah's Witnesses were a cult. These Jehovah's Witnesses gave me a children's picture Bible, which I read almost the whole thing, and the pictures were seared into my memory to the point that when I went to Sunday school, I already knew the stories and could answer many questions. I never read the part about Jesus being crucified, but when I was older and I looked at the picture, I saw that it was Jesus crucified on a stake, which is wrong because the Bible teaches that Jesus was crucified on a cross, not a stake. Or a pole, sorry. When I started high school, in grade 8, we moved closer to a different house, closer to the church, and I attended the youth group a lot more. And in the same grade 8 year, I there was a youth camp called Teen Street where various churches all around Queensland would get together. The Vietnamese church offered to pay for me to go, and I didn't want to at that time, but I was glad that I did because that camp was the first time I had my eyes open to Jesus Christ and Christianity. I don't remember much of the camp, but I do remember admiring this one pretty youth girl leader, and we had an activity called Secret Angel where all the girls randomly pick a name, and all the boys randomly pick a name, and write an encouraging note to the person we pick. And we would reveal who we wrote to, or who we were, on the last night, which was a bonfire night. And the role model that I was admiring, she ended up being my secret encourager. On the bus ride home from the camp, my close friend asked me what I thought about it. And I said, I don't know. I saw him crying in worship and other people around me deeply touched during the sessions, but I couldn't really relate to them. And that bus ride home was the first time I prayed in my heart to God, saying, God, I don't understand what these people do, but I want to. After that camp, I kept participating in the youth group, and before church started on Sunday mornings at 10, the youth would have Bible study at 9. They also started a Friday night youth group, and the youth leaders would pick us up, and one of them gave me an old unused Bible from their sisters, and they would also treat us out for food and drinks, and we would have combined games and fellowship nights and combined worship nights with neighbouring other Vietnamese youth groups. One Friday night we were learning the theme of the evidence for the resurrection, and we had a heated debate. I was on the for side and our youth leader was on the team that was against. Immediately after that night, I remember going to school and trying to tell everyone about Jesus. My close friend at that time, who became a born-again Christian, said everyone thought I was a Jesus freak and she didn't want to be anything like me because I was so pushy. That friend of mine was an atheist, but I invited her to our combined youth worship nights, and she really liked the Hillsong songs we sung at that time. It was a great space for her to meet other Christians apart from me, God's problem child. And she told me later that she ended up reading a little Gideon's Bible that someone gave her a long time ago. Thanks be to God, she did decide to follow Jesus in spite of me. I'll share one more pivotal moment in my testimony before I end today. I remember laying on my bed by myself in my room and praying to God, saying, God, if you're real, can you show me? Immediately after that prayer, during youth group, we started studying the book The Case for a Creator by Lee Strobel. We also studied other amazing topics as well, like different religions, and our youth leader would pair us up to do mini PowerPoint presentations on the different religions that we would pick. But the Case for a Creator PowerPoint study sessions and the debate on the resurrection of Christ really solidified Christianity for me. I really thank the Lord for my wonderful youth group leaders back then. They were really, really loving, and I'm sure they were praying for us. Maybe the church was also praying, and the girls' Bible studies, doing everything together and having older men and women take us under their wing. All these things really played a factor in me becoming a born-again Christian. But for me, the biggest evidence of my personal born-again moment was a desire to evangelize and the reality of hell. And I'm still a Christian after all these years. I'm not a Baptist, I'm not a Pentecostal, I'm a Christian because I follow Christ and not a denomination. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I pray and hope that 2025 will be the best year that you've ever lived, and that you have more of a fire and a passion for Jesus than you've ever had in all your years before. Thank you.